Hey, the developers have secretly buffed the anti-tank mine, the Eagle Cluster Bomb, Rocket Sentry, and a few others. The CCO has mentioned they plan to patch bugs. We'll discuss this and much more in today's video. Also, if you saw the video yesterday, I had to remove it because of two reasons. The quality was low, and I needed to correct some information mentioned. So with that said, please support the channel by tapping the like button below. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe and turn on notifications. Well, before we dive into the latest news, I'd like to clarify that this video isn't meant to bash Arrowhead. Instead, I'll be expressing some valid concerns and making points. The main goal here is to raise awareness about these bugs, stealth nerfs, and so that, you're informed about what's been going on as of late. So with that said, let's get into it. Let's start with Mr. Pillistad's response regarding the stim pistol. A Reddit user posted a video showcasing how inconsistent the hitboxes are with the stim pistol. In the comments, Mr. Pillistad admitted that it's bad. Here's what he wrote in his full post. Wow, this is bad. What the hell is going on here? Well, as you can see, he actually admits that it's bad because there's some issues behind it, obviously. Now, during my testing, I didn't experience any of this, but then again, I wasn't really up close to see how it was affecting, and maybe next time I will definitely do that if they do end up resolving this, which I would assume they're going to because he does clearly show that it's pretty bad, or at least he feels that way. Now that you know the response behind that, let's continue forward. First off, Helldivers 2 is in a great spot right now with all the buffs and various loadouts available. However, there appears to be some more bugs that have recently emerged, such as frequent crashes, missions getting bugged, the shield generator malfunctioning once again, and several other issues that are quite annoying to deal with. The support team member Roberts has updated the known issue list and posted this right here on the Helldivers 2 Discord. The first known issue on the list isn't a big deal, but for those who didn't know, you can claim the Chemical Agent Warbond title early. Just go to your titles, select it at the very bottom of the page, and it's yours, completely free. It's not supposed to be available like this, but somehow they've made it so, but yeah, that's currently going on. The second issue on the list is about the Warbonds, but it's not really worth mentioning. Yet the third known issue right here says, game crash occurs when new appear leaves a 4-stack session that have recently changed to a new host due to the previous one leaving. Yeah, the crashing is back again, and this might not be the only reason why you're experiencing crashes. It actually might be your weapon loadout. I'd like to know if you've crashed recently, and if so, let me know by posting a comment below on what you were using. I've seen several reports about how the spear is causing the game to crash again, and it's looking to be that way. Moving on, the third bug mentioned in the post pertains to an issue with the Automaton Eradicate mission. Apparently, some players are currently experiencing a bug where the bots do not properly show up, making it impossible to complete the mission. Right here, the support team member Roberts wrote, eradication missions may not spawn enough enemies to complete the mission. This issue should be resolved by next patch unless there's a hotfix released in the meantime. The CCO Mr. Pillistad confirmed on Reddit that he's added this to his list for the 60-day patch. He responded to a player on Reddit discussing the Eradicate mission bug, where Pillistad posted and said, I'll put this on the list for a 60-day patch to look into. Thank you for the feedback. It looks like it'll be patched in the next update, but again, you never know, there might be a hotfix soon. Overall, it's great to see that the developers are fully aware of the recent bugs. However, this isn't the only known issue list. Arrowhead's Zendesk site has been updated and contains some new details. Right here at the top, the developers wrote this. This list contains the most common issues reported by players or found in QA, and is kept to bugs rather than design and balance choice. This is not an exhaustive list of all issues. Crashes, performance, and connectivity problems are ongoing issues that are always being worked on and are not listed here. Besides this, at the top of the list, we already know about the free exterminator title and the Warbond price bug, yet I wasn't aware there was an issue with the scythe, possibly because I don't adjust the sight distance. Anyways, the devs essentially wrote that it's not currently possible to change the zoom distance, and yeah, so if you've noticed this recently, the developers are fully aware of it and have plans to fix it at some point. The fourth bug on the list can be ignored since we've already gone over the Eradicate mission, but the fifth one is worth talking about because it has to do with the shield generator backpack. It's bugged again. If you can recall, a day or so ago there was a problem with the shield generator. It wouldn't register the bug's melee attacks. Therefore, your shield would never deteriorate. The Arrowhead team posted this and it says, shield generator backpack will not take damage from charger's charge attack. The bug apparently is back, but now instead of melee attacks not registering, it's the charger's charge attack that isn't being recognized. This really isn't a terrible bug considering it gives you an advantage over the chargers since you're able to absorb their charge attacks. I thought this was quite interesting and decided to include it in this video, so if you didn't know, you know now. The other problem that's not listed here is the drill. The nursery mission is bugged to a point where you cannot finish it. I have heard there's a temporary workaround for this, and that's to have someone leave and join back. Then it should be usable by the person joining back. That aside, there's a member on the Helldivers 2 Discord that has had an issue with the drill as well as others, and the support team member Roberts essentially said there's nothing they can do about it. Here's the full post where they said, "Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do to unstick it on the mission. You'll just have to extract without it, unfortunately. We are aware of this, though. Maybe at some point they'll figure out a way to resolve it, but as of right now, there's no word on whether or not this is a high priority. That aside, there's actually another mission that's bugged. It once was resolved, but there's actually some other issues cropping up. The high value asset mission has got another bug going on. The Arrowhead team included this bug in their third bulletin point where it says, enemies will try to shoot the generators through walls in the rescue high value asset mission. This right here, I recommend avoiding this mission if you can. The good news is that the developers have recently patched some bugs related to it, so I would expect them to fix this mission up some more in the next patch. Hopefully they'll have a permanent solution for the bots shooting through the walls because that can be quite annoying at times. The last and final bug I would like to mention on this list, which I do not believe a lot of people are aware of, if we go towards the very bottom, this right here talks about the Hell Bomb and how it does not explode properly. Right here, the developers wrote, destroying activated Hell Bomb using various weapons will not make it explode. This right here, not a lot of you are probably aware of it, but right now there's an issue and it's been going on for quite some time if I'm not mistaken. It's been going on probably since the EOF patch. So do the developers have plans to fix this issue as well as the other ones? Yeah, they definitely do. As of right now, it's unclear when this issue will be resolved, but the developers are focused on addressing many of the known problems. It's just a matter of time. I would guess this particular issue might be, considered low priority, even though it does interfere with the objectives like gunship fabricators or even the Shrieker nest. On a completely different note, did you know that the heavy machine gun has received a stealth nerf? Yeah, that right there seems to have happened and players are not happy about it. Now before we get into the proof, Pilistad has responded to a player who asked if the devs were aware of the stealth nerf. He essentially wrote back saying that they're going to look into it and thanked the player for bringing it up. He also mentioned that the heavy machine gun is still good. Now as for the evidence, you can locate this over on a great site called helldivers.io. There's a database for weapons and stratagems that contain information on durability, stagger, knockback, damage, and all sorts of things like that. Now of course, there's more. There's the heavy machine gun nerf. The durability prior to the recent patch had a damage of 150 and a 50 durable damage. This was changed in the recent patch to 35 durable damage. The knockback was slightly reduced by 5, but still that's a noticeable difference, especially if you've been using it for ages now. Then suddenly the damage is not up to par as it once was. Yeah, it could for sure be frustrating. Maybe they'll revert it since Pilistad is looking into it. Overall, I don't like that they did not announce these nerfs. Maybe they were afraid of the backlash they would receive because of the last few patches. To be fair, if that was the case, I don't think it would have been that bad. Considering all of the other weapons and stratagems were buffed, it would be nice to hear an explanation as to why it was not included, whether it was a mistake or if they forgot to include it. Something that gives us all an idea of what happened during the patch development. So on a positive note, since we've talked about the nerfs, how about buffs? Did the developers at Arrowhead happen to buff anything? Yep, they did. As I mentioned at the start of this video, they buffed the cluster bombs by increasing both the damage and the durability. It used to be 500, and it has now been buffed to 1500. Now, I decided to hop inside of my hell pod, dive right down onto a planet, and test it out. And I don't recall the cluster bombs being effective against chargers, but during my testing, I noticed I could damage the chargers easily now. For instance, right here you can see the bombs busted the cheeks right off of the charger. Continuing on, the second buff is for the anti-tank mines. We knew this was going to receive a buff because Pilistad mentioned on the Helldivers 2 Discord a week ago that the mines will one-shot chargers. Now, if you look at the patch notes, there were no mentions of the anti-tank mines, so what exactly did they do to it? Well, the explosion damage was reduced by 200 because it used to be 1000, and now it's 800. They've increased the demolition force from 30 to 40, and the stagger force from 30 to 50. Not only was that stratagem buffed, but the developers also increased the rocket sentry damage. Previously, both the damage and durability stood at 325. Now both the damage and durability have been set to 500. Besides that, there were no other changes. Speaking of changes, the guard dog Rover can now heat up enemies faster, similar to what the patch notes mentioned about the scythe. If you check the traits for the scythe, it does list heat as one of them. Well, despite the guard dog Rover not specifically mentioning heat, they've actually applied the same heat effect to the guard dog. As you can see in this clip, enemies are catching on fire, and it's all thanks to the AX last 5. Next, the 5th buff is for the Gatling Barrage. They've increased its damage and durability to 350 and 200. Respectively, it used to be 300 for damage and 100 for durability. So you should know some small benefits when using this stratagem. What's really cool about this stratagem is that they buffed the cooldown about a month or so ago, if I recall correctly, and now they've increased the damage, which I really like. Last but not least, the Cookout shotgun was also slightly buffed. The fire DPS in the last patch was 50-25, and now it's 50-50. I thought there was something different about it when I was messing around with it, but I couldn't pinpoint it until now. With that being said, these are some of the weapons and stratagems that received buffs you most likely didn't know about. The cluster bomb is by far my favorite. Anyways, this is what Arrowhead has recently changed, but they didn't specify what was nerfed or buffed. Maybe it's because they forgot or whatever the reason is. Either way, it's awesome to know what they've done specifically to these weapons and stratagems. On a completely different topic, Arrowhead's CCO Mr. Pillestead explained to a player where things went wrong in the past with the previous patch, and goes into detail about it. This was after the player assumed that Mr. Pillestead was blaming the developers at the studio instead of himself. The developer wrote back and said, "Hey, thank you for the feedback. Not my intention to do so. There are plenty of talented developers at the studio that have a desire and ability to make the game as good as possible for the community. To be clear, where things have gone wrong primarily is the cohesion of the team and what we're trying to achieve. And this is a leadership issue more than anything. For instance, this last patch, when it came to bringing the balance into a good place, we had the same people on it as before, and they worked together to deliver a good update. But in times when we have had a weak direction, the cohesion falters and we misstep." My thoughts on this: I can already see the improvements Mr. Pillestead and the studio have been making. They've done an excellent job at communicating, taking in feedback, and responding with a pretty damn good patch, aside from the bugs. However, those issues don't diminish Arrowhead's hard work, and I'm sure we'll continue to see them improve. Moving along, there might be a new stratagem arriving in the near future, because this username SuperRob166 on Reddit posted this with the title, "Stratagem Idea, Portable High Ground." And what you can see right here is a hell pod that would land, and then it would boost your guy up on this platform of some sort. Anyways, the CCO Mr. Pillestead saw this and responded with, "I want this so much, but climbing is a new animation set and mechanics. Sometime in the future, maybe." Can you imagine using a stratagem like that? You're all the way up there on the top platform, and then the bugs destroy the bottom portion, to which you're now falling all the way down to the ground? Oh man, that would be insane, and I'm totally for this. Absolutely. Hopefully it is something that they are considering, because I would definitely use it. We're now going to talk about the pre-order armors. I know a lot of you are wondering about this. Some of you haven't seen my previous video where I've sort of answered this, because either the community manager has answered it or maybe the support team member. But right here we have the official word. So right here it says, "Can I still obtain pre-ordered armor and other time-limited items?" Then right underneath you can see that Arrowhead wrote, or more so Kayla, but you know it's Arrowhead in general, they wrote, "Pre-ordered armor sets are exclusive to the pre-order edition of the game and can no longer be acquired in-game. Time-limited content such as Fallen Heroes Vengeance, Malevolent Creek Cape, and TR40 Gold Eagle armor are limited to those who were around at the time they were released, and accounts made after their release are not eligible to receive them. While it is possible that we may eventually make these items obtainable via other methods, we currently have no plans to do so." Well, that's the official statement from Arrowhead. It suggests there's a possibility we might see the pre-ordered armors again, although they currently have no plans to re-release them, and I'm okay with them doing this. I mean, really, the pre-ordered armors, I'm totally okay with it, but I'm unsure how I feel about the cape or the armors being available again. We are now going to move along and talk about the autocannon. The Arrowhead developers have recently confirmed through support that the autocannon rounds not bouncing into fabricators is intentional. The post can be seen here where this player included a screenshot of the support team member's response. And it says, "Hi there, I've discussed this matter with the developer and this is now intentional design. No other exploding round can ricochet in the same way, and because of the change to how bot fabricators now have health and armor, to quote the developer, we realized that every weapon that have explosive rounds like eruptor, crossbow, etc. does not bounce like that in that angle, so we made it so it explodes instead like every other weapon does, so it can destroy the factories. But don't worry, they can still destroy fabricators from a direct hit into the vent, and there are now many more ways to destroy fabricators." She's not wrong at all, because there's multiple ways. You can use a thermite grenade, you can use even a eats, you can use recoilless rifle, I believe. I have not tried that one, but I'm pretty sure you can. But there's just multiple ways. You can use stratagems like the Eagle Strike, a nuke, or the 500 kg, it's better known as. So yeah, there's multiple ways you can actually utilize some of those stratagems or even weapons, right? Anyways, with that all being said, this is your Helldivers 2 news. If you guys would like to be featured at the end of the video, all you have to do is leave a comment down below. The first top comment is from AlfieLeon01. "The irony that it's more effective against bots than bugs, lol." The second comment is by Killian9314. "It honestly feels like the pre-patch flamethrower, but it makes bugs kill each other in confusion. So this is acceptably fun." And last but not least, the third top comment is by Rex8492. "We have Space Marine 2 and Helldivers 2. We're eating good, lads." And he's right. I love this comment too. Actually, matter of fact, I love all of the comments from the previous video. They were pretty solid. So if you guys would like to be featured in the next video, just leave a comment down below. With that all said, thank you guys so much for checking out the channel. Make sure you do subscribe if you're not subscribed, and give this video a like. I'll see you guys in the next one.